Never you perform any marriage rite outside your ancestral origin, outside your native home or compound. Even if there is no building there and you can't afford to raise a structure there at that moment, use canopy or native shield. If by any chance you are too busy to travel for that rite, or where you are is too far that you can't do your natural origin or ancestors this honor and respect to do, please leave it until you are ready. Secondly, you see what is done now by replacing the natural cultural palm wine with other things. We are just modeling of things in this life without knowing the consequences. On this note also, if you must carry out any marriage rites, please do what the culture says. You are not paying yourself the dues, but those that need it. And they are always there on the ancestral space to collect whatever is due them and also relinquish what is due the celebrants. Christians, perfect peace to us all. Another pertinent query here to address before we move on to our next review. We had reviewed this heading, marriage rites. Permit that we briefly shed light on this issue as much as possible, not to allow much pending queries, especially the ones that are actually affecting our diverse cultures and societies in one way or the other. The query, though, is religious. We are here once again be reminded that nature is universal. We are all one in and for nature. So whenever we address issues or rationales, just know that we are standing on that universal grounds and standings that cuts across cultures, religion, race, and tongues. However, the query is, as Christians, is it proper to perform traditional marriage rites or only white wedding? Firstly, let's quickly consult our Constitution on John Gospel chapter 2 verse 1 to 2. Here the universal Lord of Lords and King of Kings honored a marriage rite invitation which was observed according to the Jewish culture and tradition. Meaning, like he said, he did not come to destroy the laws. Then verse 6 throws more light on describing the custom jar, giving us an idea of the specified required amount for that rite and ceremony. So being a Christian does not prevent you to respect your roots and culture. For Romans 13:7 also says, give to everyone what you owe them. If you owe tax, pay your taxes. If revenue, then revenue. If respect, then respect. If honor, then honor. Again, Romans 13:1 says, let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Now, before addressing further, please, creations, if you are amongst those that should be given for marriage as physical marriage, or ever will be part of any marriage rites or ceremony called traditional marriage of any culture, never you perform any marriage rite outside your ancestral origin, outside your native home or compound. Even if there is no building there and you can't afford to raise a structure there at that moment, use canopy or native shield. If by any chance you are too busy to travel for that rite, or where you are is too far that you can't do your natural origin or ancestors this honor and respect to do, please leave it until you are ready. Secondly, You see what is done now by replacing the natural cultural palm wine with other things. We are just modeling of things in this life without knowing the consequences. On this note also, if you must carry out any marriage rites, please do what the culture says. You are not paying yourself the dues, but those that need it. And they are always there on the ancestral space to collect whatever is due them and also relinquish what is due the celebrants. So this topic is quite extensive, though there are other clauses attached, but generally, as you pay your taxes here to your different governments, so you should honor your natural roots through these positive cultural rights with their specified demands. And if you pay the taxes, doesn't connote that you are in support of whatever laws or the idea, but as far as you are in that jurisdiction, you must submit to the demands from that authority, be it local, state, or federal. Don't forget, we are all spirit beings and also expected to pay your spiritual dues, which apart from the tithe payment, others may not directly be pure legal tenders. So as spirit beings on this natural and physical world, we are expected as well to clear ourselves with the demands from the Mother Earth through our diverse cultural rites, ceremonies, and other dispositions. Now, my focus here is marriage, childbirth, funerals, and other important rites before you misunderstand the standings. So, Christians, though this teaching is quite advanced that needs discretion, but failure to carry all these things along, you will be in some kinds of issues that might not have a name to be called. You see, as all these local and state revenue collectors seizes your goods or lock up shops or business premises, so are naturals in cultural forces causes issues in life when going against some of their demands. More so are other spiritual demands from us, all in one way or the other here on earth. Now, we may say Christ's blood is a ransom. Yeah, it is. But we shall expatiate on this issue someday. But for now, bear in mind that as far as you are in this natural world, we have three dimensions self to appreciate and preserve: the spiritual, the natural or cultural, and the political. These are the governing authorities where we originate from or live in. So paying taxes and freeing yourself from government embarrassment doesn't mean you love that government or you are APC or PDP. But as far as you are within that authority's jurisdiction, you must hearken to the laws there. Now, also referencing that Romans 13:1, we then see why I said it's nature that approves all these arrangements. You could go further to Ephesians 6:12, that our struggles is not against flesh and blood, I add there alone, but against rulers, authorities, powers of this dark world and spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Now, if we could ask, why are evil forces in the heavenly realms? Is something we really need to ponder and share thoughts on. However, Colossians 1:2 finalizes it all. He said, "For him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible or invisible, whether they be thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him." Then verse 3 says, "He is before all things, which is nature God itself." Analyzing these portions in details, we have to bow to the wisdom of God, the Creator. If you will, in honest, agree with me, you will find out that God has already arrange and address these three dimensions of ourselves and even other general dimensions. To the physical government authority, pay your tax. To your natural or cultural authorities, that is Mother Nature, Earth, pay your respect. To your spiritual dimension, fear, honor God, and pay your tithes. General dimension, love the brotherhood, that is love for one another. Now, before I round up this for now, suffice to add that someday I will then share with us the universal proper marriage rights according to the unified universal new world government, Christ. Now, Christians, permit me to briefly check back the outer wall, returning shortly for what we have next.